In this video, I'll be testing the GTX 1060 3GB in Forza Horizon 4 with a custom setting, low, medium and high. I will be showcasing all these statistics that the game showcases at the end of every race so you can see what is best performance for these certain settings. Okay, let's get straight into it.
Let's go back to the beginning, back to the beginning. We can't start in what we finished, start in what we finished we could.
Now, with these custom settings aligned with the 1060 3GB, we can see that it's using more video memory than the card dedicates. So it's using 2.72GB out of 2.43GB. This is because it's actually using real system RAM to compensate for the lack of video memory. Now also it's using a fair amount of system memory as well because of this whole video memory lacking thing, so it's having to compensate here as well. So it's using a fair bit, but for me luckily I have 16GB, so we are all good. Now also 16 gigs means that you have way better performance on this game. It seems to be very orientated between having RAM and video memory that gives best performance in this game alone. Now we can see that this is an unlocked frame rate. We are able to get 87 FPS currently in this state with the 3GB card. We can see with the CPU simulation it's above the 130 line most of the time, and the CPU render is kind of hovering around above 90 to 130. And the GPU alone is the system bottleneck, as you can see by GPU limitation percentage, 99.2%, that it's the underlying factor between all of this. Now, it shows that the average for the CPU is 165, average for the CPU render is 143, and the GPU is 92. Now we can see that this i5-8400 is completely fine with higher frame rates, but the GPU is the bottleneck. We can also see that there is a little bit of stutter. Usually on 60 FPS mode you don't get as much stutter, but because it means that the system can run at max speed to get the highest frame rate, it causes these kind of frame dips. Okay, let's go to the next setting.
Crazy, so I had to go and call you out. Got complacent like you didn't give a care about a love. When I had to give up, couldn't let you go. Could never pull the trigger, no.
Now, we can see with the low preset that this video memory is not a problem now. It's only using 2.15GB instead of higher, so it's not having to use system RAM to dedicate as well, and that's quite good. We're also using only 6GB of system memory itself. That's also good, for example, if you only have 8GB of RAM. Now you can see, with this unlocked frame rate, I was able to achieve 118 FPS, which is very, very good. But, you know, you don't want to run on these low settings all the time. It looks quite horrible, to be honest. But, yeah, if you've got these specs, run a little higher, like my custom preset on VSync, that'll be definitely good. Now, also, we can see that the CPU simulation is above 180 most of the time, with some parts hovering around 120 to up to 180. We've got the CPU render hovering around 150, but it's kind of scattered everywhere around that point. The GPU is the bottleneck here as well. It's only around 124 FPS average, while we have the CPU render in simulation above nearly 170 and over 190, which is showing that the i5 can definitely take more. Now we can see also there was a little bit of stutter, but in the gameplay you couldn't really see it because, yeah, low video memory isn't a problem here, so that is all good. Okay, time for the next setting.
Wanna make this right, wanna make this right. Can we turn back time? You, been on my mind, been on my mind.
Now, we can see with the medium preset that we're actually using more video memory than the card actually has. System memory is at 6.57GB, which is okay. We were able to achieve 100 FPS on unlocked mode. The CPU is also the higher factor now as well. The GPU is still the underlying factor with just an average of 104.8. That's okay, but if you want to turn up the settings, it's kind of hard with the video memory limitation, as I said. We only had 2 stutters, couldn't really see them in the game, but that's quite good. And yeah, time to run high, if it will let us with this video memory.
Rewind. Can we turn back time?
Oh crud, it crashed. That means you shouldn't use the high setting or anything on high on this card because video memory is a huge problem, so yeah, you can't go any higher, which is a bummer. The video card can do more, but the video memory, as I said, is the biggest problem. Now, what I recommend, using my custom preset on VSync. It works, I promise. I was using it for the most of the time I played, it was great. The game looked pretty damn good and I was happy with it. Okay, so this is the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed my test of the GTX 1063GB paired with an i5-8400 and 16GB of RAM. I learned a fair bit about this card doing these tests. Now I know I can't run high, it will crash, so yeah, bit of a bummer, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to subscribe for more tests on Forza Horizon 4, because I've just bought a GTX 1066GB and we'll be doing comparison tests with that and this card. So, I'll see you guys later, and peace.